We weren't always the apex predator of the world. In fact, as a species, we had faced many hardships that have scarred us, showing how vulnerable and fragile we are, how our life can be taken in an instant, and because of all this, we had to adapt a way to survive. Fear, as you may call it, there are many different kinds of fears, but perhaps our newest and fastest growing one would be in the form of AI, and part of that is the AI generated images. Since the dawn of humankind, we had felt a certain ways for things that look almost like us, but just slightly off. This almost, however, shake us to the bones. It takes us back in time, showing us that we are never safe and that we are still fragile. Name one thing in this photo. Maybe you can spot an animal of sorts, like a dog, mid-motion, several red trash bags, sticking out just enough to be noticed, or a pillow, but you can't quite be sure what's going on. In fact, the longer you look, somehow the less it makes sense. This photo gave me the creeps. This gave me a real weird sensation while looking at it, like a localized headache that just became stronger the more I looked. It made my throat close and my brain feel fuzzy. I still feel pressure in my head. This picture was clearly able to affect people, making them uneasy at best and at worst, having a physical effect on one's well-being for a while. This is not normal. And naturally, feeding people's curiosity make it go viral on Twitter back in 2019. They went wild over it. Something unknown, something never seen before, blurring the line of reality in a way we were never meant to observe. They compared it to many things, but one thing was apparent. We didn't know what we were looking at. It wasn't meant as something to scare. Sure, it might be bizarre at first glance, and a bit unsettling because you can't make anything out of it. There was nothing exactly giving off horror or danger signals to the brain. However, it was unnatural enough to make us unable to look away, as if we were looking at a train wreck. We felt sick but couldn't look the other way. We were looking at nothing, but at the same time, we were almost desperate to find a single thing that was normal, that we can identify, that we can relate to. This was one of our first interactions with what would later on become nightmare fuel in ways we could never imagine. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. For now, let's note this picture as a beginning of sorts to a shift in people's perceptions of what's real and what's not. Since even what wasn't real had a real effect on us. How long before we're faced with the uncanny valley that anyone can create in their own home? Worse yet, what if it becomes so common it transcends reality, becoming the new one, far more common and far more easy to fall in the wrong hands? Horror as we know it has existed for as long as we have been around. It's been a way to protect us from the unknown that was ever changing as a mean to adapt and survive. AI, on the other hand, is something a lot more recent, with it having a mainstream influence since early 2020. At first, it was more akin to a toy in the hands of grown-ups, something to quench our curiosity and give a face to our desire. After all, we were opening a new flashy toy. As if we were kids, at first it was nothing more than a way for us to express our curiosity, a way to visualize the desire of wanting to know what would happen if we entered the prompt. At first, we started off with creating images close to us, humans, things that we are most familiar with. Then we slowly branched things that we like and find fascinating, like videos of cute or funny animals. However, eventually, we reach a breaking point. So, what would happen when the toy becomes too much for us to handle? Fast forward to March 23rd of 2023, and we mark a new era of horror. AI-generated horror. A video posted by you, chain drop, title, Will Smith eating spaghetti. It would go viral, sparkling discussion between many users who saw it. Let's check it out. Most people thought of it nothing more than a joke, something they can make fun of for how goofy it was, with comments like this. Knees weak, why spaghetti? Maybe you should tell your wife to stop putting her spaghetti in other men's mouth. They were clearly making fun of the video, however, a few comments took a more serious look at what was going on. Well, that was terrifying. A year later, we're come so far. Can't wait to see text to video a year from now. Perfect fake video are not generally going to be used very ethically. This video was created using Model Scope text to video tool. It was something no one would have expected, or experienced for that matter, not because it was good or convincing by any means, but because of how bizarre and out of place it looked. Angles that didn't make sense, in between of scenes that were morphing into something else entirely, as if the prompt was entirely forgotten, then remembered by the AI, only to be forgotten once again in the process making this video. Certainly a sight to behold. Even at first glance, it was obviously AI generated. I don't think it would have fooled anyone at this point, but a clearer way to use this new technology was starting to shape the way AI was used. The reason this video is so significant is perhaps what it stands for. This is an informal benchmark in the AI community, a way to test video modules to see how well they can render human actions and facial expressions. So we have started to run into a wall of sorts that begs an interesting question. What happens when we are fooled by what we see? When does AI become so good that it becomes indistinguishable from reality? It's a matter of time to see a new view of a world through the eyes other than our own. A view of reality seen not by a living being, but a machine. We will get back to this, but before that, let's get to something that can give us a glimpse of what the view can be when there is nothing to be filtered. It's April of 2022. A Sweden-based artist named Steph May Swanson stumbled upon something frankly disturbing. This is what they found. I'm not okay. Cool. A thread full of nightmares. I don't believe in anything supernatural, but this is the most terrifying thing I have ever seen. The fact that this is an auto-generated rapidly and seemingly out of nothing makes it extra horrifying. Stop scrolling and I'm hoping my memory will fail to remember this. Neat! Man-made horror beyond my comprehension. It's bizarre to say the least, but how did they get this image in the first place? They were testing prompts to see what would come out. It still had so much untapped potential, and yet they found something they weren't bargaining for. They typed the following: Brando -1. This -1 refers to the negative weight prompt, a technique used to generate the furthest thing possible, opposite from the prompt itself. To put it simply, it was like asking the AI to generate the opposite of the color black, giving you a white image in return. It was done as a way to see what would happen, so they used the actor Marlon Brando without a particular reason, turning that image into the following: a skyline logo that was made out of some abstract black buildings, followed up by cryptic letters as text. It was very readable, and to top it all off, the background itself had some unreadable text as well. Interesting. There wasn't a single thing that would make the connection between the actor Marlon Brando and what came out, so you may argue it did its job well. The question now is, if we add the -1 prompt to the letters that were readable, Digita Pintix Skyline logo -1, would we get the picture of Marlon Brando in return? Only one way to find out. After a moment of waiting, we got an image back, and this time we got more than we bargained for. Let's see what we got generated. This image of a woman is frankly said unsettling in its own right. Her name, it is Loab, based on what one of the prompts generated: sunken eyes, unnatural red cheeks, and details that are almost human-like. Almost. The interesting part about Loab, besides its creepy nature, is that it combined with another images, it was still written a variation of it, no matter what, as if Loab has taken over the other images and corrupted it. From what I gathered, this happened when an AI has a very limited database, so it's forced to create something on its own, almost if a hallucination has materialized. So there are some limits to the database that allow the information to almost blend the line between real and fake when there is nothing to base an image on, yet one is still required. It takes in what it has, and yet, remember the Will Smith video we talked earlier about and how we first made things alike to us? My theory is that when the prompt is limited to the information it has, it goes and takes a bit from everything it knows, and if it mainly knows us, then what comes out would be us. Calling it a version of us is unsettling to say the least. However, it makes sense that to some degree we would influence the AI, but still, AI is far from reaching the uncanny valley, right? Sure, it's unsettling, and you probably wouldn't like to stumble upon it. Your body knows that it's fake, for now that is. And besides, what can happen in 2 years? In 2 years, we got to see a familiar face: Will Smith eating spaghetti. Let's check it out. Due to the nature of the content, people still found humor in what they saw. However, there was clearly a shift in how people were perceiving this advancement. You can still tell this is AI, but damn, the quality now compared to what it was 2 years ago, it's truly astonishing. It has come a long way. Just needs Smith's face to be so realistic that you can tell the difference. We're so fucked. It feels like a decade of improvement in 2.5 years. This time around, it's a lot more human-like. In just 2 years, we saw such a dramatic shift in what AI is capable of, and with that, from here on out, we are entering a new stage of horror never seen before. For the first time, We can't tell at the first glance, some may not even be able to tell at all. This isn't the goofy videos and images we're used to, or the overly gory depictions of what you can tell is fake. However, one thing is clear, we're about to enter something, perhaps for the first time, more scary than real life. Let's see what 2025 has to offer. I need to be transparent. Those aren't the most scary videos I could find. However, I don't feel comfortable showing everything I found, even blurred out. The ones I did find were so visceral and unnerving that I couldn't even collect myself in order to put them in this video. Some of them I found on accident without even looking for them. Scrolling safely in my own bed in the middle of the night, suddenly interrupted by images of horrifying creatures and scenes. I don't recommend you trying to find those for your own good. And besides, they might find you first. AI, as we know it, has gone through significant changes in what it is capable of and what we are capable of doing with it. So, seeing everything we saw, I want to ask you one more question. What is stopping us from militarizing AI and AI horror in particular? Imagine real life nightmares showing a person his deepest fears. It's no longer science fiction, it's no longer a far-fetched thing to say. What is the guarantee that it won't go in their own hands and it won't be used for so much bad? You won't be able to prove anything, and worst of all, the victims may not even be able to talk out about what's going on. And perhaps that's what's most terrifying about it. We're just about figuring out things, and when there is such a huge interest, there's certainly a way to weaponize it. And I hope for the best that what I'm saying are just paranoid thoughts, but of the off chance that they're not, I pray we don't live to see what is actually going to happen. And I pray to God that this that I talk about doesn't come to fruition, because this is fate worse than death. There are a lot of uncertainties, and certainly we don't have the answers, and perhaps for quite a while we might not even be able to have them, but I think we'll be alright, guys. Throughout the video, I've asked many questions concerning the limits of AI, but never once doubted one thing: humans and what we are capable of. Which shouldn't be surprising. We as a species have hit many walls, but one thing was certain: our tenacity to break through those walls each and every time. AI might have limits, but we for some reason seem to break ours. We can do that because for every success we can do something special. If you ask AI the same prompt 100 times, it will always give you the same image: unchanging, limited. However, if you ask a human to do the same thing, he will inevitably make a change. Change is what is a constant of the universe. Matter will not be the same. Born, grown, dead. Born, evolved, dead. Born, dead. Born, evolved, grown, evolved, dead. Change is what allows us to grow and change. Change is something AI may never be able to reproduce, for we are ever changing and it's a constant. We are what changes AI. So let me ask you one question. Why do we change? Is it because we're alive? and that's the right of anything alive. So we change because we are alive, or are we alive because we change? But I don't want to change. Change is scary. Change is uncertain. It's painful. It's what makes me alive. If I don't change, can I be anything more than AI? More and more people do not want to pursue change. So we rely on AI. So we don't think. So we don't hurt. So we don't live. And that's sad. What we do is degrade life to an amalgamation of dopamine-fueled trip combined with the self-depreciation of a time frame we call life. I hate myself, therefore I hate life, therefore I live AI, therefore I die alive, therefore I rot inside, and therefore I scream a screen, alone, alive, AI. Thank you for sticking till the end of the video. I really appreciate that. Consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the good stuff. And yeah, till next time.